Welcome in, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great from wherever you're watching. We have a very important topic to address today, and that is Donald Trump being asked if there is a red line that if the drug cartels cross it will trigger an automatic and immediate military response. Before we get into all of that and much more, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe, comment with your thoughts below, and then we'll get into it. So as we all know, there's been building escalation between the drug cartels and the United States government ever since President Donald Trump returned to office. He's been on a roll when it comes to hitting America's enemies. He hit people over in Iraq. He hit people in Syria, hit people in Somalia, launched a massive military operation against the Houthis in Yemen. And the one group that he's also targeting, but so far has not hit, although has signaled he's very open to doing so, is the drug cartels in Mexico. So far, as of this video being made on March 18th, the United States government has not hit a drug cartel. That could change at any given time. We are doing the spy flights. We have troops on the border. We have heavy weapons on the border. We are amping this thing up to get ready to roll. And I was very curious, much like in any military situation, would there be a red line that if the drug cartels crossed, that they would immediately get smacked? And it turns out President Trump was asked that very question. So there's a little bit of an interesting spin to this one because my fiance, who works as a reporter at a outlet known as Semaphore, was with the president on Monday, and she asked point blank during an exchange with the president, what is the red line? Does the red line exist? What is it going to take for the United States to launch military operations, military action against the cartels in Mexico? Trump gave an interesting answer without giving away any of the plans, which is very Trumpian, is what he usually does. Let's go ahead and roll the footage of Trump addressing a potential red line against the Mexican drug cartels right now.
Do you have a red line for the drug cartels that if crossed, it would automatically trigger a military response from the U.S.?
Well, we'll see, but we're not going to put up with it. This country is not going to allow people to come in and dump drugs and kill our youth and other than our youth, too. Older people are very much affected, so we're not going to let that happen.
So right there, you have President Trump saying we are not going to allow these people to push their poison into the country, kill American citizens. It's just not going to be tolerated. But on the red line comment, he said, we'll see. So that would seem to indicate, maybe the way I read that is, in his mind, they do have a plan, kind of a threshold that if crossed is what would trigger that military response. So let's talk about for a second what exactly that threshold could be, what that line could be, what could cause that military response. I think there's one big obvious red line for the Trump administration, and it should be a red line for any president. Unfortunately, we didn't have strong leadership for the past 4 years. We have seen a very clear different change, a very different tone now in the White House. And that red line would be if the cartels launch an attack inside the United States, I think you would see a response from the United States military and President Trump unlike anything anyone could imagine. We had an American citizen who tragically was killed by a bomb, an IED, south of the border in Mexico. And while that's terrible, and the people responsible for killing that American citizen should 100% absolutely be dealt with, it's not the same as launching an attack inside the United States. That would be a game changer. Now, I've also argued that cartel leaders want to stay alive. They don't want to be dead. They want billions and billions and billions of dollars. And they want to keep their revenue stream pumping, and they want to keep living their lifestyle of being rich drug kingpins. That's what they are. They're drug kingpins who get rich by pushing their poison into the United States and harming our people. They're smart enough to know that if they launch an attack inside the U.S., the consequences will be incredibly grave. The consequences would be downright horrific. However, like any wounded animal, when you feel you've been backed into a corner, you're going to lash out. And if we continue to apply more pressure and more pressure and more pressure to the cartels, eventually the time might come where they feel that they have to escalate on their end of the equation. And if they make the decision to escalate inside the United States by conducting some kind of attack, kidnappings, whatever it might be, they would be signing, as I've said before, their own death warrant. And that has to be the red line. You cannot allow the cartels or anyone else for that matter to come into the United States, threaten our citizens, harm our people, push your poison, carnage, and chaos across the border, which they've been doing for decades now, and not do anything about it. Violence south of the border is one thing. Still terrible, still absolutely awful. But the moment it comes over the border, it's a totally different game. And my speculation would be, if they do carry out an attack inside the United States, President Trump would respond in overwhelming fashion. He would hit them harder than they could possibly imagine. That's got to be the automatic red line. So let's play this out a little bit. Let's say that they do escalate an attack in the United States. They cross the red line. Trump triggers the automatic military response. What might that response look like to an attack inside the U.S.? Let's get into that now. Obviously, we do not know exactly what the response from the military and Trump would be because it's never happened before. But we do have evidence from other events to kind of get a general idea of what it could look like. We know that when Al-Qaeda attacked the United States on 9/11, we started a massive war on terror. Now, politics aside, you can have any thoughts you want about the war, how it went, the tactics and strategies that were used. Those are all fair game to debate. But the fact of the matter is this. We hunted them all over the world. We hunted them in the Middle East. We hunted them in Africa. We hunted them anywhere that they might be. We were going to go get them. I think you would see the exact same thing. Same with Pablo Escobar. The United States government decided that Pablo Escobar had become too much of a threat to be left up to whatever he was doing and the carnage and the pain and the chaos he was pushing. So what did they do? They sent Delta Force after him. They sent crack commando teams after him. They worked with the locals, and then eventually he was shot and killed. Now, on the Pablo Escobar thing, the history books will tell you that Pablo Escobar was killed by the local police. Other people from the unit, Delta Force, and some historians have argued over time that a Delta Force sniper killed Pablo Escobar, but that's neither here nor there, really, but, you know, kind of an interesting tidbit. So that's what I think you would see happen. You would see massive commando raids. They would find the leader of the cartel that ordered an attack inside the United States, and they would, for lack of a better term, kick the shit out of him and anyone they found with him. They'd have Blackhawks rolling in with Delta operators. There'd be airstrikes. There'd be drone strikes. They would annihilate the cartel responsible for that. Annihilate them. You would see direct action raids. You would see air power come in, and anyone they took alive that they got into a U.S. courtroom, they would hit with the stiffest punishment allowed by law. But the reality of the fact is many of those guys aren't coming off target alive, if that's what President Trump does in retaliation. So it's an interesting debate. It's an interesting discussion about what might happen. But as Trump said, he's not going to allow it. I do believe the red line exists. The red line is if they do something inside the United States, you have to respond. You don't have a choice. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below, what you think the red line might be for an immediate military response to the drug cartels. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch y'all next time.